Hello everyone and welcome to my February wrap up. So I only have 4 books to talk about in this video with you today. These are all books that I've read since the 15th of February because in the first half of February I was taking part in Cozyathon, which I also did a wrap up for, so I will of course leave a link to my Cozyathon wrap up in the description down below so you can see what other books I've read this month. Of the 4 books that I'm going to talk about in this video, I gave all of them 4 stars, so it has been a pretty good reading month for me in the second half of February. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is a historical mystery story called The Wicked Cometh by Laura Carlin, and this is set in 1800s London. We are following a very poor orphan girl called Hester White, and one day she is run over by a carriage owned by this very wealthy family. They take her back to their house in order to nurse her back to health and make her better, and it transpires that the master of this house is wanting to conduct this kind of social experiment where he wants to prove that he can help the poverty-stricken of London and educate them and ultimately raise their social status, and he sees this opportunity of Hester being in his house as the perfect chance to test out this theory. So he enlists his sister to kind of be like her governess and her tutor, and in order to help raise Hester's education and her social status and things like that. At the same time, a lot of poor people seem to be going missing in London, so you kind of think that maybe is this experiment something to do with those disappearances, and the longer that Hester spends in this house and the closer she gets to the family, the more close these mysteries seem to be. And it does get really, really dark, like a lot darker than I expected it to. There is some graphic violence in there as well, particularly towards the end, not just towards humans but animals as well. So if you are sensitive to anything like that, I probably wouldn't recommend this book, because I'm used to reading like all levels of graphicness because I read a lot of horror books and stuff like that, but the violence in this I thought even was a little bit too much for me, so I would say definitely avoid it if you're sensitive to that. There is a beautiful coming of age love story element to this as well. One of the best female romances that I've ever read. It was just so beautiful. They were such a great team and a gorgeous ending to this book as well. It was so beautiful. I did write a full review of this on my blog, so if you're interested, obviously I will leave a link to that review in the description down below, so obviously have a read of that if you are interested. The next one that I gave 4 stars to this month is Paris Adrift by E.J. Swift, and this is a very unique time travel story. It's about a girl called Hallie who is a geology student, and she realises that she just needs to pack up her life in England and find herself somewhere in Europe. She ends up in Paris and she ends up working in this very strange, unusual bar with some very quirky, lovable staff members who become like her little family, and there's definitely something off about the whole environment surrounding this bar. One of the staff members can't leave Paris for some reason. Like every time she tries, something happens that means that she can't leave, and this mysterious woman claiming to be a chronometrist, or basically like a time scientist, turns up, and she's really interested in Hallie for some reason. And then Hallie finds this time portal in the keg room and she starts traveling between the past and future Paris. She learns about stuff that happened decades ago and how that is influencing the political situation of Paris in the present, and then she learns what future Paris looks like, and it doesn't look all that good, so she kind of takes it upon herself to change things in time in order to obviously make everything okay again. But obviously she finds out that when you play with time, obviously you have to sacrifice something somewhere, and it is just such a crazy, unique ride. It really is. There is a romance in this that kind of felt a little bit sudden, and there wasn't a lot of build up to it, so I didn't really like that element because I couldn't really invest myself in it, but there were some really lovely characters, and again a very unique concept. I did write a full review of this on my blog too, so I will of course leave a link to that review in the description down below, so give that a read if you are more interested. The next book that I gave 4 stars to this month is A Girl Called Al by Amy Wilson, and this was very kindly sent to me by the publisher Macmillan Children's UK, so thank you to them for this. This is Amy Wilson's debut middle grade fantasy book. We are following a girl called Al who has never really known who her father is, and her mother's always been very reluctant to say anything about him, and she's grown up with these very vivid, real seeming fairy tales, almost like her mother's been to this world that she tells Al about. And then one day this very strange, unusual boy shows up at Al's school, and she's really, really interested in him. And at the same time, weird things start happening to Al. She starts developing like frost patterns on her skin, and she believes that this kind of magic may have something to do with the father that she's never known. And her search for him takes him into this beautiful wintry wonderland. It is just such a quirky, whimsical, little magical story. I would have loved a little bit more world building in it, I will say that, but it is just a really lovely, quick little read and perfect for fans of middle grade fantasy. So yeah, definitely check it out if it sounds like your kind of thing. And the last book that I gave 4 stars to is also by Amy Wilson, and that is A Faraway Magic. And this is her new released middle grade fantasy book. In this, we are following a girl called Angel, whose parents have recently died in very strange, unusual circumstances, and she moves to a new town with her foster parents, and she starts a new school. And at her new school, she meets a very strange, unusual boy called Bavar, and for some reason, nobody really seems to notice Bavar, and but she really, really does, and she's really intrigued by him because there's kind of like an air and a scent about him that reminds her of the night that her parents died, and she kind of feels that his magic might have something to do with the thing that killed her parents. And it is just such a wonderful magical ride. It really, really is. There's a really unique magic system thrown in there, and some very unusual monsters that I'd obviously never met anything like before, and it is once again a really lovely, whimsical ride. I really, really liked the fact that there was no romance in this. Despite all of the ingredients for a romance being there still wasn't one, and I felt that that really made it unique too. Ultimately, it's a story of friendship and learning to celebrate your differences and learning to not hide away and just loving yourself for the way that you are. Ultimately, it was just a really lovely little middle grade fantasy with a lot of lovely morals in it. And that is it for my February wrap up. What books did you read this month? Obviously, please let me know. A couple of notices for UK viewers. There is actually currently a giveaway going on my channel for these 2 Amy Wilson books. So I will of course leave a link to that video that lets you know how you can enter a giveaway to win both of these books. I will also let you guys know, again, this is just for UK viewers. I recently opened up my own bookshop on Facebook, inspired by my lovely friend Charlie at Duvet Day Devours, who I literally mention in every single book haul I do. I am getting rid of some of the mountains of books that I have in my bedroom, and obviously I want to see them go to great homes, and I feel that by opening them up to people who I know seek out bookish content, i.e. you guys who obviously watch BookTube, I feel that they can definitely go to a great home. So again, that is just for UK viewers, obviously to keep shipping costs simple. So I will leave a link to my Facebook shop in the description down below as well, so you can obviously come and see what I've got. I've got a few books listed up there right now, so obviously have a look. Hopefully there will be something for you, and I will leave all of my social media in the description down below. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye bye.